The 1960s were a crazy and brave time for the global car industry. People didn't just make pretty cars back then. They made speed machines that were ready to push the limits of technology at the time. But even though there were well-known brands like Ferrari, Porsche, and Shelby, there were still cars that were so unique that only a small number of people have ever heard of them. These cars had three important things in common. It was hard to find because it was so rare. It was more powerful than anything else at the time. And it had cutting-edge technologies that many car companies are still learning from today. Are you ready to go on an adventure? This video will take you back to the 1960s to see 7 very rare sports cars that had cutting-edge engineering. Which one of these will shock you the most? Let's get into it together. Oscar 160 GTZ is number 7. The Oscar 160 GTZ is one of the most important cars from the 1960s, both in terms of history and technology. Off-sign Specializate Kostian Automotive, or Oscar, made this car. The Maserati brothers started the company after leaving the Maserati brand. The 1600 GTZ is the best example of their design and craftsmanship philosophy. Racing performance and expert handcrafting come together. Zagato hand-shaped the whole body of the car out of very light aluminum. It has a smooth, aerodynamic shape and a double bubble roof that is unique to Zagato, not only making it more beautiful, but also making it more stable and efficient at high speeds. The Oscar 1600 GTZ has a 1.6L twin-cam engine that was first made for Fiat by Aurelio Lamprati. It makes about 140 horsepower. This number may not look great on paper, but when you add in the car's very light aluminum body, the 1600 GTZ could easily reach a top speed of 130 mph, which was very fast for a car of its size at the time. The Oscar 1600 GTZ was not only beautiful and fast, but it was also very powerful. It was also very tough, having raced in tough events like the Targa Florio and the 24 Hours of Le Mans, where its handling and endurance made many other racers nervous. Only 98 Oscar 1600 GTZ cars were made, but they are now seen as a small but proud symbol of Italian craftsmanship and racing history. The Maserati 5000 GT is number 6. Maserati's best Grand Tourer ever is the Maserati 5000 GT. And what makes it even more special is that the then Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, who loved speed and wouldn't settle for anything less than the best, asked for it to be made. The powerful Shah asked Maserati to make a car that could combine racing power with the most advanced technology. To do this, Maserati gave the 5000 GT a 5.00L V8 engine that was based on the famous Maserati 450S race car. This engine made between 325 and 340 horsepower, which was enough to get the heavy Grand Tourer up to a top speed of 170 mph. This was a very impressive number for street cars at the end of the 1960s. The body of each 5000 GT was made by the best design studios in Italy, like Carrotteria, Alimano, Touring, Bertoni, and Pininfarina. This made each car a true work of art, unlike mass-produced sports cars. There were only 34 of these cars made, so the 5000 GT is the ultimate sign of power, wealth, and royal class. Maserati kept its racing DNA by giving the car a 5-speed manual gearbox and a complex suspension system, even though the inside was luxurious with leather, fine wood, and custom dials. This made it a rare speed legend in automotive history. Fossil Vega HK500 is number 5. Jean Danos, who started the FEL Vega brand, had big plans for the FEL Vega HK500, which was made from 1958 to 1961. This car has a unique look that is typical of French cars, but it also has the mechanical power that is typical of American cars. The HK500's low, elegant stance, shiny chrome accents, and eye-catching grille all give it an air of luxury and class. But what really makes this car special is what's under the hood, a Chrysler V8 engine with a 5.9L capacity that was later increased to 6.3L. In the late 1950s, this engine gave the HK500 a maximum output of 390 horsepower, which was a huge number. The HK500 could go up to 150 mph because it had more power than other cars. At the time, it was one of the fastest four-seat coues in the world. But what made this car even more amazing was how fast and comfortable it was at the same time. It had a hard top with no pillars, leather upholstery that was carefully finished, and a dashboard that looked like an aeroplane cockpit. This was very different from a lot of European sports cars from that time, which often gave up comfort for speed. With the HK500, you could go fast and enjoy the smoothness and refinement on long trips. Because of this, it became very popular with the rich and famous, including Dean Martin and Sterling Moss. The HK5001 is one of the rarest classic cars in the world because it costs a lot and only 490 were made. Fourth place goes to the Lancia Flaminia Super Sport. The Lancia Flaminia Super Sport, which was made from 1964 to 1967, is the last and best version of the famous Flaminia line. It is also one of Zagato's most beautiful designs ever. This car is special not only because of its sleek, sporty design, but also because its whole body is made of ultra-light aluminum. This is in keeping with the Grand Tourer style, which is for drivers who like precise handling and the right speed to enjoy the ride. The Flaminia Supersport has a 2.8L V6 engine that makes 152 horsepower. Compared to Ferrari or Maserati from the same time, this is not a very big number. The Lancia's famous adjustable chassis and suspension system, on the other hand, sets it apart. This system gives the car perfect balance, great road grip, and a very smooth driving experience. Something that fans of classic cars still love today. The Flaminia Supersport's interior continues to show off the class of Italian cars with its handcrafted leather, stylish dashboard, and driver-focused cockpit. Lancia was for people who liked elegance, precision, and technical excellence, not the brute force of Ferrari or Maserati. The Flaminia Supersport is not only the last car made by Lancia by hand, but it is also a true treasure in the world of classic cars today. It marks the end of an era for Lancia before it entered a new age under Fiat's ownership. The third one is Dual Ghia L64. The Dual Ghia L64 is one of the most unique and expensive Grand Tourers ever made in the 1960s. It is the perfect example of how American engineering and Italian craftsmanship can work together. The L64 was a big improvement over previous dual-gear models. It was made by Dual Motors working with the famous Italian design house Cazzeria Ghia. Under its long, sweeping hood is a Chrysler Fav 8 engine with a huge 6.4L capacity that makes 335 horsepower. This powerful engine and the well-known Toraflight automatic gearbox work together to make acceleration very smooth while keeping a lot of power, which lets the car go as fast as 140 mph. For a big Grand Tourer, this is pretty good. The Dual Ghia L64 was designed by Paul Farrago with help from the famous Virgil Exner. You can tell that it was made by Paul Farrago, with a sleek and elegant handcrafted steel body that also looks strong. The inside is the height of luxury, with hand-stitched leather, soft wool carpets, and a dashboard that looks like an aeroplane cockpit, all of which create a stylish and elegant space. Only 26 Dual Ghia L64 units were made between 1961 and 1963, making it one of the rarest American-Italian hybrid cars ever made. Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Peter Lawford, all famous people from Hollywood, owned this car. This made the L64 even more of a symbol of power and glamour among the rich and famous in the 1960s. Second place goes to the Aston Martin DB4 Burton Jet. The Aston Martin DB4 Burton Jet, which came out in 1961, is one of the most rare and special cars that Aston Martin has ever made. This is not only the last DB4 ever made, but it is also the only one with a body designed and built by Burton. This makes it a one-of-a-kind classic supercar. The designer of the jet, Giorgio Giaro, was very young at the time, but would later become one of the best car designers of all time. This project was a special order. The jet version of the Aston Martin DB4 is very different from the classic curves of the standard model. It has a modern fastback design with a lower roof, a sharp streamlined rear end, and angular lines. The DB4 jet looked much sportier, more powerful, and more aerodynamic than other cars of its time, because it broke with tradition in such a big way. The jet still had the 3.7L inline-6 engine, which gave it 302 horsepower. This let the car go from 0 to 60 mph in just 6.4 seconds and reach a top speed of 150 mph. This car from the early 1960s is really impressive. The Aston Martin DB4 Berton Jet is a one-of-a-kind car because Aston Martin later chose to work with Zagato instead of Berton. This makes it a priceless treasure in the world of classic cars. First place goes to the Alfa Romeo 2000 Prau. The Alfa Romeo 2000 Prau is one of the most unique and hard-to-find prototypes that Alfa Romeo has ever made. It was first shown at the Turin Auto Show in 1960. This is the only car made by Carrozzeria Touring, a famous Italian design firm. The name Prau Peak alone piques the interest of car fans. The name comes from the car's unique concave rear window, which is based on the shape of Malaysian ships with the same name. This gives the car a unique look from the back. The Prau was built on the same chassis as the regular Alfa Romeo 2000, but its body is completely different. The car has a smooth outside and the best weight because it is made of very light aluminum and Touring's famous Superleggera construction. There is a 2.0L inline-4 engine under the hood that makes 115 horsepower. Not a lot, but enough for a classy grand tourer. The interior shows off Touring's creative side with all the gauges and controls neatly arranged in a central dashboard that looks like an aeroplane cockpit. This gives the car a very modern and unique look compared to other cars. The Alfa Romeo 2000 Prau is a one-of-a-kind prototype, even though it is beautiful and creative in its own way. Alfa Romeo later worked with Bertone on the commercial 2000 Sprint Coupe. This made the Prau a true treasure that the most famous collectors around the world want. One thing is clear when you look back at the 7 very rare sports cars from the 1960s. They weren't just fast cars, they were a golden age for the car industry when engineers, designers, and manufacturers pushed all the limits to make cars that were not only beautiful and powerful, but also had a personality that couldn't be copied. Even though many of the cars on this list were only made in small numbers, sometimes just one, their value and legacy live on in the hearts of car lovers all over the world. So, which of these 7 legends impressed you the most and made you want to own it? Please leave a comment below. If you want to see more interesting car stories, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. We'll see you next time.